first resistance one comes up against is that sixth sense moment where you resist inside of yourself. That's the first. The first enemy that you have to face is your own self. So when you're hearing these voices, these sounds, you're having these ideas, 1983, 84, there is considerable resistance within your thought processes to what you're feeling. It may just be a feeling, an emotion. Then there is the resistance that comes about from the fact that nothing is being nurtured externally to develop this concept. So you question whether there were people of African descent in this country. So 84, 85, 86, you come to the conclusion, yeah, there were, but they were all slaves. That's your mindset. Also, the stuff that people teach about African history, the enslavement of African people, etc., therefore provides a justification for your thought process by saying, even if they were here, they would have been the other, another term used, the stranger. They would have been treated terribly in English society. And you hear about, or the small bit of evidence that you hear about the African presence, you would assume that Queen Elizabeth, being a inverted commas racist person, would have implemented policies to discriminate against them, and that John Hawkins was the first person to enslave people, and that he must have been enslaving them, and that Martin Frobisher and other people that lived in from Wales and Cardiff and from the south of England were actively engaged in pursuing activities to make these people downtrodden. And this is what was going on. And the people that were here must have been part of that downtrodden population. That's what you assume. Everything that people write about this period of English history would justify such an idea. That internal battle, that conflict, goes on in what you then think about this period of time. And even when you begin to research, and I began researching hard from 91, 92, from 86, it was peripheral. From 92, I began researching hard. Even the stuff that I was uncovering, 92, 93, 94, up to 98, I was still placing all of that evidence in the post-colonial mindset that had been given to me. So I was still describing England as a fundamentally racist society within the concepts of what we think of in terms of modern racism. I was still defining the people who were living in England as essentially an enslaved population. I was still defining how they saw the world as being the other, the stranger, the foreigner. I was still thinking of England as Britain, as a powerful imperial nation, of which it was not. None of those things were actually true. England wasn't Britain, it was England. Britain didn't become Britain until 1707 in the Act of Union. It wasn't an imperial nation. It didn't have colonies except for a few in Ireland and a few perhaps in the Americas. It didn't acquire those colonies until the 17th century, in the middle part of the 17th century. It was not a powerful nation. The African presence was not just a question of enslaved people. In fact, it was difficult to enslave people in England. Those Englishmen that carried out enslaving practices were enslaving lots of different people, including Native Americans, white English people. And those Africans who happened to be enslaved through those processes didn't actually come to England, but were transported external to other places. If they did come to England, it was very difficult for them to be actually maintained as slaves in England because the nature of English society didn't really allow enslavement to take place in that way, in that form, in that shape in English society. So all of those things that I thought were correct were in fact wrong. And all of those things that people wrote about Africans in England that maintained that post-colonial idea was also wrong. I was willing by 1998 to question my ideas. I had a eureka moment. Most people in this country, in fact in this world, have not yet had their eureka moment. Africanus.